You don't have any money? And that 10,000 bag, where did you find it? Her mother-in-law threw out sarcastically as she came into their home. Anastasia stood in front of the stove, slowly stirring a pot of porridge in an old enamel saucepan with chipped paint in places. A faint smell of burnt milk hung in the kitchen, but she didn't even notice it anymore. In this apartment, you eventually got used to everything. To the floorboard that creaked near the front door, to the bathroom faucet that kept leaking no matter how many times you tightened it, to the kitchen tile that was coming loose, revealing the gray cement underneath. Andrei was sitting at the table, his eyes fixed on his phone. He was scrolling through job listings, his face closed off, lips tight. Anastasia knew that expression. He was still looking for another job or a position that paid a little better than the one he already had. But in their small town, there was almost nothing. Maybe they'll take me at the warehouse, he muttered without looking up. They paid 27,000 there. Me, I only make 22. Anastasia nodded even though he wasn't looking at her. 27,000. It was almost ridiculous. In Moscow, that amount would barely cover the groceries for a month. But for them, it would already be a change, a breath of fresh air. And what would you be doing there? She asked as she poured porridge into 2 bowls. Warehouse worker carrying loads? She looked up at him. Andrei was thin, tense, solid in his own way, but not built like a giant. After a day of carrying boxes, he would come home broken. Think carefully first, she said softly. Your health is worth more than that. He gave a slight grunt and put down his phone. Then he started eating without a word. Anastasia sat down across from him, but she wasn't hungry. Her gaze wandered over the peeling wallpaper, over the old refrigerator that hummed like an engine about to explode. Tomorrow, she would have to wash stairwells again. On Wednesday, clean the apartment of that woman on Sovietskaya Street. Friday, another woman's place, always ready to blame her for a speck of dust left behind. A knock at the door interrupted her thoughts. Not a doorbell. A sharp, insistent, demanding knock. Andrei looked up and Anastasia immediately saw his face change. A kind of guilty weariness passed over his face. He got up and went to open the door. Hello, Mom, she heard from the entryway. Anastasia exhaled slowly. Tatiana Petrovna. Of course, who else could come without calling, without warning? Andrei, why didn't you tell me I was passing? The mother-in-law said in an annoyed tone, even though she herself never gave any warning. I could have surprised you. She entered the kitchen and immediately scanned the table where the 2 plates of porridge were. Her lips tightened. Hello, Tatiana Petrovna, said Anastasia, standing up with a forced smile. Sit down, said the mother-in-law with a wave of her hand, as if she were at home. I'm not staying long. I was in the neighborhood, so I thought I'd drop by and take a look. In the neighborhood, since their building was at the edge of the city, at the end of a dead-end street that no one ever used, Anastasia didn't reply. Tatiana Petrovna walked over to the refrigerator, opened it, and inspected its contents. A carton of milk, a piece of cheese, a few vegetables. Her expression grew even more severe. Andrei, at least, are you eating properly? She asked as she closed the door. Tomorrow I'll bring you some borscht. Mom, that's not necessary, he replied, rubbing the bridge of his nose. We're managing. You're managing? She let out a small, contemptuous laugh. I can see what's in your fridge. Porridge and 3 leftovers. Under the table, Anastasia clenched her fists. She wanted to say that the porridge wasn't made with water, that there was milk, that he ate normally, just differently. But she kept quiet. With Tatiana Petrovna, the slightest word became an act of insolence. The mother-in-law finally left, but not without stopping in the hallway to examine an old vase on the shelf. Oh, that's new. That surely wasn't cheap. No, Mom, it's old, replied Andrei. She gave a skeptical sniff, then finally left. Anastasia immediately felt her shoulders relax. Andrei came back into the kitchen and sat down again. Sorry, he said in a low voice. She shrugged. What could she say? Her mother-in-law came by almost every day, sometimes even twice. She watched, controlled, judged, and gave advice that no one asked for. And above all, she liked to talk about money. Andrei, be careful with your spending, she often said. Young women don't know how to save. They spend without thinking. Anastasia understood the insinuations perfectly well. She also saw that Andrei was starting to have doubts. He began to ask her where the money was going, to look at the receipts, to calculate how much should be left. It was humiliating. The worst part was that she couldn't prove anything. Yet she was saving on everything, on herself, on everything. Every ruble was counted. A few days later, Anastasia came home from cleaning at a rich family's house. Her arms, legs, and back were aching. When she came in, she put her jacket down in the entryway and noticed an elegant paper bag on the shelf. Not an ordinary shopping bag, a designer bag. She walked over, looked inside, and saw a handbag, a truly beautiful leather bag, refined and elegant. The kind of item she wouldn't even allow herself to look at in shop windows. Her phone rang. It was Lena, her friend. "So, did you find it?" Lena asked enthusiastically. "I put it on the shelf while you were at work. Your keys were under the doormat, as usual." "Lena, why did you do that?" Anastasia asked, taking the bag in her hands. "Because I'm tired of seeing you carry all your things around in a supermarket plastic bag. You go to people's houses, you work for them, and you show up with your phone, your papers, and your makeup in a little bag. It's neither practical nor worthy of you. I can't accept something like that. It's too expensive. Stop it. Someone gave it to me, and I don't like it. I already have several. Take it. You need it." Anastasia wanted to refuse. Then she looked at the old torn plastic bag she used every day and realized that Lena was right. "Thank you," she whispered. "Really." The next day she took the bag with her. She put all her things in it, her old phone, her worn-out wallet, a lipstick, a comb. The bag was light, practical, beautiful. And for the first time in a long while, she walked down the street with her head held high. She no longer felt miserable. In the evening, when she got home, she set the bag on the shelf by the entrance and began to prepare dinner. Andrei wasn't there yet. There was a knock at the door. Again. Tatiana Petrovna came in as usual, without being invited. She walked into the kitchen, looked at the pot on the stove, then her gaze shifted toward the entrance. Anastasia understood immediately. Her mother-in-law had seen the bag. She got up, went over to the shelf, took it in her hands, examined the label, and ran her fingers over the leather. "It's pretty," she said in a strangely calm tone. "It must have been expensive, right?" Anastasia's heart started beating faster. There was something bad in that voice. Too smooth, too calm. "A friend gave it to me," she replied. Tatiana Petrovna gave a venomous smile. "Really? A friend? Very well, let's say so." She put the bag down, went back to sit, and said nothing more. She stayed a few more minutes talking about trivial things before leaving. But Anastasia felt it right away. It wasn't over. A week went by, surprisingly calm. Tatiana Petrovna did not come. Anastasia was even starting to believe that she had lost interest. Then, one Saturday morning, there was another knock at the door. She opened it. Her mother-in-law was standing there with an overly polite smile. "Nastya, may I come in?" "Of course." Tatiana Petrovna settled herself in the kitchen. Anastasia put the kettle on, brought out some biscuits, and tried to appear natural, even as a dull anxiety was already tightening in her chest. "I have a favor to ask you," her mother-in-law began, folding her hands on the table. "I need a bit of money, about 10,000. I'll pay you back, of course. I had an unexpected expense." Anastasia remained motionless, her cup in hand. 10,000. He didn't have it. Not at all. "Tatiana Petrovna, we don't have that amount. Really, we don't. We're already struggling to make ends meet." The mother-in-law narrowed her eyes. Anastasia knew that look. A mix of contempt and satisfaction. Then, in a soft and venomous voice, she said, "You have no money, and that 10,000 bag, where did you find it?" Anastasia opened her mouth, but no words came out. "I'm not blind," continued Tatiana Petrovna. "I know that brand. That kind of bag costs between 10 and 15,000. And you want me to believe you don't have any money?" "It's a gift from my friend," said Anastasia in a trembling voice. "I told you, a gift," her stepmother sneered. "What kind of friend would give you something like that? Do you even hear yourself?" It's true, Anastasia finally cried out. Lena gave it to me because I was going to work with a plastic bag, a supermarket bag. Do you understand? Because I can't even afford to buy myself a real handbag. Her voice broke. Tears welled up suddenly, uncontrollable. I clean other people's stairwells, she continued, her throat tight. I scrub floors on my knees for 1,000 rubles. I clean the apartments of people who look at me as if I don't exist. And you think I could afford a 10,000 ruble bag? She brought her hands to her face. Her shoulders were shaking. She was ashamed. Ashamed of her poverty, ashamed of this life, ashamed that she couldn't defend herself in any way other than by crying. At that moment, the front door slammed. Andrei had just come home. He walked into the kitchen and froze, his face turning pale. "What's going on here?" he asked in a low voice. Tatiana Petrovna straightened up immediately, ready to justify herself, but Andrei wasn't looking at her. He was staring at Anastasia, her face wet with tears, her hands trembling. "Nastya, why are you crying?" he asked, kneeling down beside her. She could only shake her head. "Andrei, I just asked her about the money," his mother hurried to say. "I just wanted to borrow a little from her. She says they don't have any, but she buys herself expensive bags." "It's not her bag," Andrei said in a low but suddenly firm voice. "A friend gave it to her so she wouldn't have to go to work with a plastic bag anymore." He stood up slowly. Then he turned to his mother.